Private equity stocks have surged in the past 6 months, and quite frankly, so has the deal flow. Joining me to talk about the spike in PE stocks and whether it can last is Mark Sunderhuse of the Alps Red Rocks Private Equity Fund. Welcome, Mark. Now, private equity stocks really got hammered during the 2008 downturn. Nice resurgence lately. Why is that?
I think people have a better understanding of their business model. I also think that the days of covenant light, if you will, and high leverage or financial engineering at least have passed us for now. Second, I think there's a much higher degree of humility in the private equity space, which may come as a surprise to some of your viewers and listeners. And last, deals are being done with a larger equity check, less debt. That requires more operational improvement on behalf of the firms running the underlying companies. Before
we get into the new deals, let's talk about some of the old ones. Are they completely out of those deals that they overpaid for back before 2008?
No, not necessarily so. You maybe just don't hear about them quite as much because if firms are out trying to either raise a new fund or trying to resurrect some of their sins of days gone by, they're much more focused on trying to at least get them back to cost, maybe like a Texas Utilities or Clear Channel, but they're clearly not in the forefront of investors' minds.
And are they doing some smarter shopping this time? You hear about the Dell deal with Silver Lake, you hear about the Heinz deal with Warren Buffett, KKR is buying Gardner Denver. Are they overpaying this time, or are they smartly shopping?
I think it really depends on their metrics, and you have to think about the time frame involved with private equity. But for the most part, I think they're paying fair multiples, but they obviously see upside to growth, and they must see some synergies on how they're going to grow globally. To the second question, we hear about the headline deals. There is a lot of activity in M&A subsurface in more moderate-sized companies. So I don't think they're overpaying. I think they're paying in a more wise capacity this time around.
The PE companies also got hammered politically, and still, LBOs, it's not a very welcome term. It's not a very welcome acronym in any circle, whether it be in D.C. or anywhere else, except perhaps on Wall Street because of the job losses associated with it. Can PE get away from this? Can they rise above it somehow?
I think they're beginning to. If you focus on a website as an example, that's an industry website, Private Equity Growth Council, you read some of their stories. I think people are getting a more balanced view of private equity. At the same time, they serve a necessary purpose in our economy to moderate businesses that aren't functioning that well. And last, I think as private equity does a better job both explaining their business model and how they add operational improvement and add net jobs, eventually people will come around. But no, I think they still have some work to do there, but slowly but surely they're getting there.
Now, yours is a global fund. It's not just U.S. private equity players. Who are the standout performers in your portfolio?
You know, a firm that I would highlight, I'll highlight a couple for you briefly. One would be someone like Onyx in Canada, not a household name, but they're the largest private equity firm based in Canada. They've partnered, as an example, with Carlyle on Allison Transmission that was spun out of GM during the darker days of GM. They've also partnered with the state pension plan in Canada in buying a Denver-based company where we are called Tompkins. You wouldn't know Tompkins, but they're the largest manufacturer of gates and hoses for autos. So there are some lesser companies that are very large in stature and assets that have done immensely well and just choose to play under the radar a little bit more. A second example would be SVG Advisors. Feeder money into Primera, Hugo Boss, that you'll see golfers and whatnot sporting their attire, Galaxy Gaming, largest gaming casino, Igloo Foods, purveyors of frozen peas we know them for. Deals like that have been immensely successful outside of the U.S. borders.
Frozen peas and Boss suits. Sounds good to me.
Very good.
Good luck with the fund. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for watching The Street.